Hey everyone, this is Paul Gale from paulgalenetwork.com, and thank you for joining me today for video game news. It is October 20th, 2020, and these are the top stories of the day. To kick things off, we got a tweet from Xbox saying it's time to dust off the old Needler, along with some details below. Fully optimized on Series X and S, 120 frames per second in campaign and multiplayer, split screen improvements, and up to 4K resolution on the Series X, and available for free to existing owners or those with Xbox Game Pass on November 17th. This is pretty awesome because if you, of course, own the game, as they mentioned here, for the Xbox One, the Halo Master Chief Collection will be receiving a free considerable upgrade on the Series X and S. If you skipped out on that game in the past or are new to the Xbox family of consoles, then if you get Game Pass or buy the game new, you're going to experience these Halo titles in their best quality to date. And it's a good value because it's a lot of solid games in one, so whether you buy it outright or get it as a part of Game Pass for a cheap monthly rate of $15 a month or $10 a month if you're smart and do the gold conversion trick, then this is pretty cool. So props to Microsoft on making this available. It's not quite the same as getting Halo Infinite Day 1 on November 10th. That's a title that slipped into 2021, but still having something Halo this close to launch 7 days after the system comes out is pretty cool. So good job. Next up, since it is October 20th, that means we are officially 1 month away from Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. If you've been watching the channel for the last few months, you know I'm looking forward to this one. It came out of nowhere, very welcome surprise. It's the prequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, one of the best games ever made, one of my top 2 kind of titles of all time. And yeah, we've seen enough footage of this, haven't received too many spoilers. I mean, we kind of have an idea of how the game's going to finally end, but story along the way, we don't have too much to go off of that's been spoiled for us. We've gotten some glimpses of some characters that look kind of similar that might be helping out the Yiga clan and whatnot, but there's a lot that's going to be fresh, and I'm excited. Good gameplay, good characters, nice visuals, set in a fantastic environment, great voice acting, etc. I'm stoked. So, if you are not looking forward to this one, I suggest keeping it on your radar because Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity is probably going to be one of the most fun games to play from this point out for the rest of the year. Next up, in gaming news, a little bit of an update on Ghost of Tsushima, or should I say possibly Ghost of Tsushima 2. You see, Sucker Punch has a new position in which they're looking for someone with a desire to write stories set in feudal Japan. Now I wonder why Sucker Punch could be looking for somebody to fit that writing role. Possibly for a sequel to this game. Ghost of Tsushima, sorry, tongue twisted there. Ghost of Tsushima released in 2020 and was a very solid game. Now it has its multiplayer edition that we received for free. So next up, could this become an ongoing series, a franchise to be? Quite possibly. Several years from now, could it be a God of War situation? Could it be an Uncharted situation? We've already got The Last of Us. We've already got Horizon. So there are a few more franchises that are starting to develop. We'll see how long they could all last on the PlayStation side of things. But I wouldn't mind seeing more Ghost of Tsushima. So that Sucker Punch listing today was kind of exciting. So if anything officially gets announced, you will hear it here on Video Game News. And finally, speaking of voice acting, kind of going back to the Hyrule Warriors talk, we just talked about Cyberpunk 2077 yesterday, but today we learned one more cool detail, and I've got to give some props to CD Projekt Red because they announced today that not only will the game be voice acted in 10 languages, but it will be properly lip sync dubbed in 10 languages. We've had titles in the past from different studios, such as Breath of the Wild, for instance, from Nintendo. The game had a quite extensive voice acting cast and in multiple languages. I mean, we heard the whole game in English and in Spanish and in Portuguese, in French and German. There were several languages involved, and they even added more after launch. But what CD Projekt Red is doing with this game is you're getting English, French, German, Spanish, Italian, Polish, Portuguese, Russian, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, 10 or 11 languages in there. Well, that was 11 that I counted specifically, that are going to be spoken and lip sync dubbed over. And that makes a big difference because even when a game gets dubbed in a new language, it could be a little off-putting when you're hearing it spoken one way, but the lips are kind of just moving on their own thing. And that takes a lot of extra development time and whatnot, but they've got good motion capture technology and they have a cool way of making this work behind the scenes. So I like seeing that. I like seeing developers go the extra mile and really try to not rush on anything. I mean, there's always crunch time, and that's to be said, but hopefully all employees get a good bonus and pay, and then it kind of makes it worth it. But regardless of that, how you feel about crunch time, it's good to see a developer not rush and really just lay out this 7-year plan of development and deliver the vision that they had in mind. The only thing that I hope that they were able to nail, because I know they were having a little bit of a difficult time with Cyberpunk, was the weapons melee, the hand-to-hand combat. They didn't feel as solid with that as they did with other elements of gameplay, of racing, of gun mechanics, shooting, hacking combat. If they got the hand-to-hand melee combat down, I think the game's going to have no problem because they seem pretty satisfied with their product. So I'm looking forward to playing it myself, reviewing it, and seeing other people's reviews as well. That's going to do it today for video game news. It's on the shorter side, but we got some cool news from Xbox. We got some cool PlayStation stuff with Ghost of Tsushima. We have a little Hyrule Warriors update since the game comes out in 1 month exactly. And we have some multi-platform stuff, Cyberpunk 2077. So kind of a good all-around day. Thank you for watching. Hope you had fun. I had fun. I look forward to reading your comments in the section below. Hope you all have a good one. See you next time for more video game news with Paul Gale Network. Take it easy.